2 weeks into the new year, and Bo found himself at the bottom of a mountain. Not planned, not prepared, all because of a bet made on Boxing Day between his two friends, Callum and Jules, for whoever reaches the summit first. At the starting point, the three of them were given climbing equipment and a safety watch for signaling an emergency, alongside a guide marking the final point where emergency services can still be reached. But beyond that, they're on their own. With a final nod between them, the three of them separated into their own groups, each confident, each certain they've chosen the right way to win the bet. At the crack of dawn, they began the climb. The footpath wound endlessly around the mountain. The terrain was rocky but manageable, safe enough to forget where they were. Their body was awake and felt strong, and their confidence was even stronger. For the group, two options arose. A, increase the pace and push past the others early on, or B, keep a steady rhythm and learn the mountain before challenging it. Their headlight guided the first stretch of the climb, and from Bo's perspective, the path rewarded patience. Bo chose B. Slow and steady feels right. Callum, on the other hand, didn't hesitate, and without warning, overtook the group with a determined grin cutting through the dark, not recklessly, just fast enough to feel ahead. Hours had passed quicker than expected, and daylight took over. Spirits were high as the group caught sight of Callum again, going off target, yet already halfway up a vertical climb. His movements were slow enough for the rest of them to catch up. "There's another path up here," he calls out. "Look, on the map, it's a shortcut." The group paused as two options arose. A, stay on the designated path and continue forward, or B, join Callum and take the shortcut. So far, the journey had been manageable, exhausting but predictable. If a shortcut could win the bet, was it not worth the risk? Callum took it, and from Bo's perspective, he seemed ahead. Bo chose B, and a few experienced climbers followed. Jules, hesitant, decided to stay with Bo. Out of everyone, he already looked the most drained. Somewhere during the climb, the stakes shifted. Now, this wasn't just about reaching the top. The weather took a turn for the worse and rain began to fall. No one checked the weather forecast when planning the trip. Now every step demanded attention. Jules urged the group to move faster, but a single mistake here wouldn't mean slowing down. It would mean falling. Every grip felt final. When the group finally reached the top of the climb, the group stopped to rest. But Callum didn't. Determined, he continued upward on the new path. Out of frustration, Jules started to complain, openly scolding everyone's leadership. Bo tells him, "I don't know where I'm going either. You knew the risk." Just before the situation could escalate, Callum returned and informed the group of a downward slope. The path wasn't a shortcut, but a dead end. And again, two options arose. A, walk back and rejoin the original path, or B, attempt another climb to reconnect higher up. The climb was risky and again, uncertain. This was a race with a path set out. Why stray off it attempting a climb no other has done? Bo chose A, but consumed by his own ego, Callum chose B. After an hour of descending, the original path came back into view. Looking closely into the distance, they could just about see the original group moving ahead safely. Jules stopped, completely exhausted. He pressed the emergency button on his watch, saying he's come far enough. To walk up and come back down was more than he could handle, and for a bet with no reward, it wasn't worth it. Bo left him behind as air support arrived. Callum continued climbing alone. Although the terrain eased slightly, the weather worsened. The route remained dangerous and the mountain showed no concern for who wanted to win, only how they will make it back down. Rainfall became heavy and the roars of the sky were deafening. This journey already wasn't looking safe, but still determined, Callum climbed his own journey, using both his hands and his feet, whilst Bo's journey only required his feet. The mud thick, each step felt weighted, and for them both, questions arose. Should they continue if the weather stayed like this? What are they proving to themselves? Is the reward worth the risk? Bo continued on, but Callum was forced to pause. The combination of rain and wind blurred his vision for where he was heading. He could no longer see if there even was a path ahead. At this point, the risk far outweighed the reward. At this point, his journey became too dangerous to continue. With a looming sense of disappointment on his circumstances, Callum felt he had no choice but to press the emergency button and exit the journey. For Bo, however, the climb continued. past the final point of emergency, past the final option to quit safely. The higher Bo moved, the thinner the air became. Each breath felt shorter. Each step interrupted his rhythm, his reasoning jading his idea of a finish line, because by now, he should have reached the top. But by this point, he lost sight of time. He lost sight of the people he started with. He lost sight of the version of himself before this journey. It was too late to push the emergency button. He's come too far to turn around now, and every step felt like a fight for survival, a battle of innate nature versus nature. And without realizing, every decision he made had trained him to win, or at least find a way. Habit replaces choice, momentum replaces reason, because quitting is never a part of anyone's plan. And then, the ground leveled out. He had reached the top. As the sun set across the horizon, the view is quiet, grey, undramatic, anticlimactic, yet beautiful. He asked himself, how did a dare bring him here? He turned around and saw nobody around him and nobody ahead, because it wasn't just the mountain he overcame. Now, he could walk back down without urgency, without competition, able finally to see the journey for what it was. Not a race to the top or a view at the end, but who he became on the journey.